And your dedication in this regard. I now yield to the ranking member, Mr. Issa.
This is on, Mr. Issa, but
it just dropped off all of a sudden.
Yeah,
It probably
I
has
don't
nothing to do with you, I'm sure.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, maybe they can give you the other
Switch
one.
the other
See if
mic.
this works.
Yeah, just switch to that one. In fact, you can use
Okay,
two.
yeah, this one works.
You can use two.
Okay, I'll use two.
It's very presidential. Mr. Secretary, I'll pick up where the chairman left off. Some companies, including Toyota, I'm told, you can go to their website and you can punch in a VIN, which is the one piece of information that anyone who's in possession of the car can see. At your website, you have to put in make and model. So you kind of have to know your trim level, et cetera, et cetera. Can you commit to us that in the foreseeable future, the Department of Transportation could, and if you agree, should, have every automobile sold in America a VIN number on file, so if somebody punches in the VIN number, they can see every recall and every piece of safety information that you know of that needs to be applied to that vehicle. Can you?
Yeah, given the right amount of time, I will commit to you that we should make that information available in the simplest possible way for even people who are, you know, maybe don't have access to a computer or whatever. We should make it available to people.
I appreciate that, and a lot of my questions from my opening remarks are about what do we do proactively for the future, and I appreciate that we'll all have questions put for you and for NHTSA and follow-up questions about the past. But let me go on to another one. Currently, NHTSA, as I understand it, has 41, 42, 49 in the high year, 1,000 inquiries or complaints. And of course, the auto companies also have theirs. If an auto company reaches a certain threshold, they have a requirement to send that in the U.S. If an auto company has a recall in another country, they have an obligation to inform NHTSA. I understand sort of that system. Now, you and I served in our past lives on the Select Intelligence Committee, so you're very familiar with what our open source system is. Can you tell me today that there's any technological reason or common sense reason that in fact we, the United States government and NHTSA, should not be able to transparently see all claims from all of our first world partners, obviously to be arranged, and all the collateral material from all the people who want to sell vehicles in this country? Meaning, is there any reason you have to wait until there's a recall to get information? As you know, Great Britain, they didn't actually have a recall, but they had a similar sticky pedal that they didn't see as significant because they thought it only happened there on right-hand drive cars. And yet, when we were getting a relatively small amount of sticky pedals, had we had that information, like any open source bringing together of information, an agency of the government would have fairly easily been able to have an alert that could have been sent to the auto company for their attention and response. Do you see any reason that that's not something that should be part of a great organization rather than a good one?
I agree that it should be part of it. We believe in transparency, and I personally think information can be very powerful, and the more the better.
Now, I know that you can't answer everything about NHTSA, but I think you're familiar with the Toyota Blade sold in Japan, the one that had a pedal similar to this, even though it was not an automobile sold in the United States, in which they shortened the pedal because of entrapment. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not intimately familiar with that, Mr. Issa.
Well, I would appreciate it if you would respond for the record of how in the future a similar automobile in another country that does have a change can have a change consistent in the U.S. As I said in my opening remarks, we took a shortcut with NHTSA's acquiescence and awareness. We took a shortcut on the mats in 2007 here. Well, in Japan, they increased the clearance on the pedal. The difference is the difference in San Diego of that family still being alive. So That's probably the most important question I have for you, is between open source information and consistency of similar or even sometimes dissimilar parts around the world. Can you commit to me that it is within your vision and authority with existing law to bring about a real change so that this will not happen again?
I take your point on this. It's a good point, and you have my commitment.
Okay, I appreciate that. And if you would do us one favor, and that is, if at some time in the future you do see the potential need for more authority or more specific legislation, that you would also come back to us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you again, and I yield back.
Thank you, gentlemen from